Yo, how's it going, guys? Today we got some of those delicious dual triangle event duels. This was the event where your extra deck could only consist of either Fusion, Synchro, or Exceed. Here we're going to be playing Fusion. We got some of that branded Tearlaments, and we're going to have a game up against Drytron here, which counts under the Exceed category. And then we have a few more afterwards as well. So I hope you enjoy. Our hand here is pretty cracked. They get to set up their entire board. So basically just Herald with like a few Omnis. And of course the crazy follow-up that Drytron offers. But we have the Super Poly here, which will hopefully get rid of the Herald, which can otherwise just negate all of our actions. And then we have two Shufflers, which are really crushing against Drytrons, since they need to activate in the graveyard to revive themselves. Here our opponent makes a Beatrice to send Eva, and this is going to get him the little heralds in the hand for even more disruption, which we have to still play through even if we manage to out the Herald of Perfection, which, spoiler, he's going to get super polyed. If we just look at his field. Unfortunately, he also makes a little fucko here, who's unaffected by card effects, and he can just prevent his owner from taking any damage for that turn. So we get rid of the negates here. Now we know we still have to play through a spell negate and a trap negate because those were the two little heralds that they added. So we're just going to go for a normal line here. And we're going to lead with a field spell because I feel like Grief in this situation gets me more value since we already spent our normal summon here. We do a bunch of summoning and milling and everything. Shiver Karma is going to grab a Scream, and we're going to fuse into Kaleido Heart here. I'm going to opt not to spin anything. This guy is unaffected, and I'd prefer this to be gone rather than back in the extra deck where they could use it again. So it'll just hurt their grind in the long term. And this is where we use our first Shuffler. As you can see, they had to activate the effect here, and they've tributed the Benten. And what we're going to do now is we're going to target the guy that wants to revive, so that completely fizzles the effect. It says special summon this card from your hand or graveyard defense position, then you can whatever. That's how all of them are worded, which means that the second part won't happen if the first part doesn't happen. So by hitting the Gamma here, we're going to prevent both of the effects here. It's not going to come back. It's not going to revive anything. Then we're also going to hit the Benten before it can trigger, because its trigger will be in the next chain. It says if this card is tributed, not when. So it will be on the next chain. So we're going to shuffle that back as well. And then we're also going to get rid of the Thuban, and we're going to hope that they are out of rituals. We know they can get back their ritual spell, but we're hoping they don't have any fodder to tribute. Unfortunately, they do have the Prep of Rites, which is pretty nutty because it also gets them back their ritual spell for free. And they're going to go for the Draco Nids here. We're going to mill 3. Nothing happens. Kind of sucks. And they're going to start building their board here. Now this is going to flip this face down, which means its attack will be 2000 again, so it can be attributed for the full value. However, the reason I am flipping this face down with the snow here is because of its effect that you can detach materials instead of attributing monsters to ritual summon. So we're basically giving them back 1 monster to tribute with by taking away 2. So I feel like this is valuable because he basically loses 3 bodies. Or 4, because he has to treat 1 from hand as well. And this does get to attack everybody once. Here is the Trap Negate, which also eats the last card in his hand. The Eva does trigger though, so that's kind of unfortunate. He's going to have an orange light in hand, but he doesn't have another discard for it. And he's going to run over my entire board. Now, fortunately, we don't die. Unfortunately, we have to deal with Zeus. So for turn, we're going to draw another Grief, I think, which means we have 2 pushes. Yep. And we're going to attempt to bait out the Zeus here with the Rhino Heart, but he gets a quick effect. Pop these guys. Get rid of all that. Sheeran still triggers. And we get to make a Rolkalos here. We're going to search the Meta Noise and set it before activating Scream. So when he Zeus's, we'll get to trigger the Meta Noise here. So it'll give us the Havness for some more disruption on his turn. And of course we get back the Volcalos here. Now, it looks like they have the Cyber Emergency. And they're going to use an effect from the graveyard here to revive, which we're of course going to negate right away. Snow's going to come out here to prevent our Volcalos from being destroyed by battle, but now the Zeus is in defense, so we have to find another way to destroy it. We know the set card to be the Orange Herald. We also know its stat line, which is like around 500 attack and defense. So what we're going to do here is just going to go for our Kaleido Heart again. And then we're going to spin the Zeus away, make a kit, beat over his set card with our Snow because we know it's big enough. And then we have just over lethal at 8,300. Alrighty, for our next tool, we're going to be opening a fairly decent hand. Let's not kid ourselves here. Pretty nice. And we don't know what we're up against. We only know it's not going to be fusion, so we're gonna have to respect Exceed and Synchro decks here. Not like it really matters. We get to hit a whole bunch of stuff here, which is really, really nice. Great board. We have a Sully, we have a Meta Noise, we have a Crime, we have the Fenrir here. And we even have the Havness to play on their turn a bit. And we have the Snow in the graveyard, which we're going to call by. So we're just going to activate it right away so we don't lose it. And now they Dark Ruler us, which of course we have the Crime for. So we're super chilling here. Havness gets the trigger. We're going to recall those. Easiest game of our lives until they thrust into evenly. We have no more negates and we lose absolutely everything. Only Volcalos and a Dream left. They're going to start making Tellarknight plays, which lead nowhere, and they're going to pass back to us. So let's see what we can do with this. We have the Albaz here. It's not going to win me the game here. I'd prefer to use it as another push to break their board that they're going to start building here on the Crackback. Is at least my intent. Turns out they don't actually do anything here. Same train of thought for the Sheeran. It doesn't put them on any less of a clock or any more of a clock, any shorter of a clock, I guess. Yeah, and they decide to set a monster and 2 cards. So I'm thinking these 2 cards are probably dead. He would have set a monster last turn if he had one, and he would have. So we know that was the draw for turn, and we know they would have placed spell traps if they were anything real. So I'm gonna draw the Scream. You might as well activate it. Swing here. Don't want to overcommit. This looks like a really, really hard winning position for us. We have a lot of gas to break through whatever they do here. And we're just going to decide to end the game here. Normal summoning the Sheeran here. Might as well use the effect. And we attack with the Volcalos to play around being Ash, which lets them survive. And it turns out it was the Ash. Sheeran would have just traded with it. Nothing would have happened. And we take the win.